Hi everyone, this is the last day of June and I just finished today my Dear Julie Just Junk Journal Challenge for the month of June, and I did a patriotic journal for our 250th celebration this year, 1776 to 2026. I am just really honored to have been able to make this, and I want to go through and show you all the things that I've done. And a lot of this was inspired by Julie's challenge, and I did my best not to break any rules and get her done. This is the journal, and I had an old book that had a lot of this gilding on it, so I went through with my paintbrush and refurbished it, put the 1776 over the title of the book, and then this is Julie's digital of an eagle that I put on here, and then went through with the glossy accent and made it nice and shiny to protect it. And so the black back is plain, and then the front, I found this wonderful button, and it has right here, it says 1780 on the edge, and I thought, well, that is just pretty special. I put it together with scraps of material that I had and some lace and this trim here, and did the red, white, and blue. I like to take my bow and I sew it together to where you don't have to untie it, and that way you can just push this down and slip it over the button and it secures it. And it's also secured in the back here so that it doesn't pull out. And so I'm going to go ahead. This is part of Julie's digital, and the digitals I use, Patriotic digitals. And so please go to our Etsy store. You'll see I have pieces taken out of it. But go ahead and go to our Etsy store and enjoy finding some beautiful digitals for the patriotic feeling that is being stirred in all of us right now. So I had one of the things that I was able to get in my challenge was a book that was on the beginning of a nation, and this was in that book. And so I thought that was a wonderful picture to put here in the very front. And then I put the lace here, and this is Julie's digital, the Star Spangled Banner, and then some more of her digital with a little pocket here, and I will put something in that pocket. And plenty, I wanted to make sure you had plenty of writing space in here. And so a lot of this paper, I had the certificate. I went and fussy cut around the edge of it, and then went with the gold on the other side of it. This was one of the things we were supposed to make, and it was to take and do the strips on top of each other. And so I did that and turned it into a belly band, and have my little eagle here with the bow. And then we were also supposed to take on material and rub an image onto the material for our journaling card, and so I did that. And on this type of a challenge, in this, we were to do three things. So a tag, a journaling card, and a pocket. So with this, you'll see the tag, journaling card, and pocket here in a little bit. And we could use tissue paper and napkin, and so this is my tissue paper, and I spilled some water and got some ink all over it, and so I decided to just embrace the accident. And then we were to take our scraps and do strips, and so I did that. And so this was my pocket page, and then this was one where we were to do the cards that were quilted. And so we have 4 cards, and then in the book that I was talking about, there was this image of George, and so there are several images like this that I cut out of that book. And so I've got that as a journaling card, and then Julie's digital here. And this was also in that book, and this was the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And so I thought that that was wonderful to put in the center. And so in the center of each one of my signatures is going to be a picture that is from that book. And I like to zigzag around the edge, and then I went with the gold pen to make it look like trim. And here is another one of those cards that is quilted in the image from that book, Julie's Digital. This is where I rubbed the ink on here. And then this was using my masterboard, and I also printed on some tea bag, and so this is scraps of the tea bag that's on here, and music paper that I had. And again, I like to have a lot of journaling spaces in my journals, and we could have add the paper if we printed on it. So I printed little emblems on there, and then here is that cut into strips, and I put it on some torn paper scraps. We could use all we wanted out of our scrap box, and I've got plenty of scraps to use. And this was another digital that I used. It's called Scrolls, and so I used it as just one of my background type of papers. And backed this onto here so that I have more writing space. And Julie's Digital, and I printed that on this grid paper. And then this is our waterfall flip that it was to be on clear, and so this is her digital, and I backed that with plastic. I backed the plastic with the lace, and then here's the digital on there. And out of my scrap box, and have all of that scrap. And then this was on my scrap box, and it just slides out so it's easier to write on for you. And then on this page, I had this magazine page. I wanted to save the picture that's on the other side of the center, and so I took the glue and glued it on there and there, and then just kind of took my sandpaper and sanded off some, but I made that to where you can write and then open it up and write here, but I kept that. And then here's this picture that I thought was really cool, and it's got our the seal up here, and places that you can write here, as well as I put gesso. I sanded off the words and then put some gesso on it, so and it was clear gesso so that you could write there. We were to take and punch out any of our scraps that we have for tissue paper and also for a napkin. And so this is what I did. I did 3 tabs for the tissue paper because we were also supposed to make charms, 3 different ones. And so I used a cereal box on this one and put on the back of it part of a calendar, and then her digitals here, and then this picture was out of something that had come in the mail, and so I fussy cut around George and put him on there, and then added some broken jewelry. And this is where I took my die cut and did the napkin, and I also then took the embossing folder and embossed the fireworks on there, and then did a rub and buff gold on the fireworks, and the scrap of lace, scrap of paper. And this is we were supposed to add I always forget the name of the different sacks, a treat bag. And so this is a treat bag that I glued down for it to be a pocket. And then this is where another thing of the strips that I did, and part of Julie's Digital is here. And I did some pearl essence on here, and added it to some dyed paper that came from our friend Lolly. And this bag my friend Irma sent me from West Virginia. I put Julie's Digital here and put sequins on here. This was some stickers that I had, and then it opens up, and down inside here then I got this in the mail, and so I just added that for some bling on there. And then this is my game piece that we were to do. With a game piece we were supposed to do, well, it didn't have to be a game piece. I wish I could remember what the three things were that we were supposed to make with, oh, shape. And so my shape is star, and so I towered them on top of each other and put it on an index card so you could write on, and then put the game piece or the puzzle piece, red, white, and blue, on there. And then when I glued this down, I glued it so that you could use this as a pocket right here. But then whoever owns this, they can put something down inside here. And I just added this because I had my little playing card that we were to do, and I made these rosettes here out of scraps of paper, added a sticker on here, put this letter. This is just, I like to do these to where you can just take that scrap of paper and fold it down and write on it and fold it back up and it looks like a letter. And so I put that behind Julie's digital so you could write a little secret message there, and you can also write on the back of this. And then this is Julie's digital here of a little flag, and she calls this the sailboat. And so this is her digital that I printed on some matte finish cardstock. And then this flips up and you can write here, and that is her digital then here. I hope I am not keeping you too long, and thank you for being patient with me. And I've been feeling well lately, so if my voice feels funny, I haven't had a cold, but I certainly have been fussing around with a little bit of a fever. So, feeling better though, and I will disinfect this. So this is her digital again. I just made it like a postcard, and this was one of her challenging things that we were supposed to do. And so this comes out from behind George. Got to unbuckle him, and I put George on some canvas, and this is a Tim Holtz, I guess they call them a die cut. And so then this opens up, and I've made it to where you can write in here, and also these playing cards I made to where they're little notebook pieces. So this was her digital, and then I just put the scrap of paper on it, and then that folds back down and closes. And then we have like I lost my star. I'll have to remember to fix that. Probably have to go back and watch the whole video to figure this one out. Well, I'm glad it happened to me so that it doesn't happen to you. So there's George and Mr. Washington here, and got him in several different sizes, and this tissue paper, and I did the gold splatter on it. And I'll get right back up there. I'm so sorry that I don't have a really great setup, so the piece of material is just barely big enough to fit, but I know I need to put something so you guys can see better. So this is with the tea bag, and I put the sequins on the paper, then put the tea bag over it, and then made the medallion and the ribbons 1776, 2006, and you would think I do better on keeping your stuff clean. I apologize. And so that's that one. And then this unties, and then you take this down, and then this comes out, and you're going to write here, you're going to write here, and there's all of that. And then tie it back up all nice and pretty. And there you go. Not yet. There you go. And moving right along. Julie's digital. I put it as a top tuck here. And her hydrangea. Patriotic. I think it's called Americana Hydrangea. And then because the page, when I folded it in half, it was this shy of going to the edge, I then added little paper to the edge and then sewed on. So that's why you'll see this type of thing. And I really liked this page, and I covered up the verbiage because it didn't have to do with this picture. And then you can write up here too. And when I sewed in the signatures, I sewed them all in with the gold thread to stay with the celebration that we're doing right now. And I really like that. Okay, so this is a napkin that I put the digital from the hydrangea on, and I waxed it, and so you can see the picture of the bird with the hydrangea, but I put it over America the Beautiful song so that you could read the words through it. And then this is her digital, and this is a napkin that I just put in strips and glued down on top of the card here and brought it over the edge. In 1776, One Nation Under God. And this is just some paper pad that I had. And here's another one of the postcards that she had in the digital. And that's from her Patriotic back in May that she did. And here is the eagle that I fussy cut around to put on here. And a couple of years ago, I had stenciled on some paper using a water effect, and I had that paper, and I thought it would look really good in here, and it was free paper that I could use, so there it went. And now we are going on signature number 4. There are 5 in here, and so this is my charm for this one. And here is, this was put on shelving, clear shelving, so the ink is on the other side of the plastic. And then I made this medallion here and sewed around it and added the gold to it so that you'd be able to staple, because our staples are counted as our 3 things. And then we were to do a tuck that flipped out, so I used one of her folios and put that here, and then then it will flip out for you to where you've got plenty of writing space. And I printed it on this grid paper, or graph paper, I think is the better word for it. And this is part of where I spilt the water, and so there's some of that stain from that spilt water. I am glad it wasn't milk, or I would have definitely cried over that spilt milk. And then this one comes over, that's her digital scraps. This comes down, and the scrap here you can write on, this scrap here, and then I've got this scrap here that you can write on. And I didn't glue it down because I thought that handwriting was pretty cool, so there's all of that. And then we were to put a pocket, so here's some more of my master board with the tea bag on it and stuff. Come on, ribbon. Go back in there and look all pretty. And then I had just a tiny piece of this trim, and I thought, well, this is a good place to use it. And I had a tiny piece of this lace, so I put it there. And this is my puzzle piece, the star, for a journaling card. And so I put the puzzle piece with tea bag on it, and then put it over a piece of this one. And so that's tea bag on the puzzle piece. And then, so you've got a journaling card in there. And this is a waterfall flip And I'm going to see if I can do this all on screen. You take this blue and you push it up, and all of the pages are going to come up for you. And it comes to this, and I've got the where I did the heart here. It says love, and I love this nation. We are one nation under God, and I was honored to be able to serve as a chaplain's assistant in the Army, and I just love that I can do this. And so we have the envelope that opens up and another one of those tags. And so then you just pull this back down. You can add photos or whatever you want to that. And this was another picture that was in that book, and I put washi tape around the edge. And this fold here, I made this pocket, and this is a napkin, and so this just slides out of this, and when you open it up and you take and grab a hold of the back and you flip it, you've got pages that you can write on that flip. And there's this here that I put, and also here the signing of that, and then we've got a pocket here and one in the back, and then this just slides back on there. This is the material pocket, not material, I'm sorry, this is the shelving. Then I zigzagged it onto making a pocket, and then this is the journaling card with the material, and that was very highly educational for me. I did not get an A. And another one of my, this was from a calendar on her digital. Put a napkin on the back of this one. And this is the second ply of the napkin. The first is really, really bright blue. The one is up the more subtle. Pages. And I put the ledger in here. And then this, I had this map that I got when the ladies came for a visit in April. And so I put the map here from the Atlantic journey over. And then I added this all here. I've got a pocket here that I just took napkin and put on an envelope, and then folded up some parchment paper in there for you to write on. And then this is napkin, that's the second ply of the napkin. And different pieces of Julie's digital. If you notice, the stars are different size, and then the eagle up here. And so, of course, it won't be easy, right? And that just lays down. And so I did that map, and then this was from that book, one of the first maps of the United States. And then I did this one that is on a napkin to do this pocket, because that's my puzzle pieces, that is my game, and this is my shape for my pocket, which is the star here, and you can see the bottom of the star up underneath the lace. And so that was my base, and then I put that for 250 years, and we've got Mr. Washington. I added glossy accent here on him, and lots of journaling pages. And then I signed it here, and I've got George, who he's held us together. I got him on my dollars and I got him on my stamps, but I got him in my heart too. And I really appreciate that there are good men still out there who still, my grandson is in the Guards at basic training right now. And I just thank you all for watching, and thank you for being here with me. And yeah, it's supposed to be easy. And there she is, Lady Liberty, 1776. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.